Welcome to another afternoon yoga practice. Now we are going to want to have a few props, possibly blocks, maybe fascia balls or a rolled up towel. This isn't essential, and I'll show you what we're gonna do with them later. It's just literally for like one of the last poses, and either a bolster or a big cushion. And if you have sensitive knees, just make sure that you have something like a blanket or something underneath your knees if you're not working on carpet and you have a sensitivity in this area. So we're going to do a lovely nice stretching sort of practice today, working a little bit into our fascia, our connective tissue, so that we can actually begin to feel the entire body stretching out in a much more like nurturing and gentle way. But we're also going to play with feeling into sensations. The whole purpose of this practice today is to become aware of the sensations that you're experiencing in your body. So noticing what we feel, where we feel it, and really trying to understand what it feels like for you. So we're going to begin actually standing at the top of your mat. So you can shift all of your props off to one side and come up onto your feet and start at the top of your mat. Maybe checking in with your breath. So you might want to place your hands to your abdomen, your belly, and just allow the breath to move in and out smoothly. As we breathe in, the belly rises, and as we breathe out, the belly falls back in. And just create this connection to your breath, watching its natural lifting and falling, maybe even closing down the eyes. And we're observing straight away that initial reaction and sensational response of simply just our breathing. Good, take a couple more breaths. Just connect to the sensations of your breath, where you feel it in your body and what it might feel like. Then if your hands on your abdomen, just release the hands, maybe shake out the hands a little bit, maybe shake the legs out. We are going to start with a few sun salutations. And I know I'm often like, oh, I hate sun salutations. But actually they can be really useful for building up some heat so that we can start to get the body moving and then feeling into the sensations afterwards. So we're going to go through about 6 rounds of sun salutations, and I will modify and also give you slightly more different variations if you want to practice slightly differently. And if you just would like to spend the next few minutes playing with mobility and doing whatever you want to get your body warm, you can also do that too. So we'll begin just by stretching the arms up to the sky. Take an inhale, the palms will connect, and exhale the hands to the heart center. Just take a moment to just notice what you might feel that's in your physical body, sensationally, that's the most maybe dominant feeling that you have in this moment. On the next inhalation, let's reach the arms up and take a little back bend as we open up the heart. Exhaling, we fold forward slowly, maybe softening the knees, or you can keep the legs straight. So deciding which variation you want to work with. Bending the knees helps elongate the lower back. And as this is our first movement, maybe just staying here and pedaling through the legs if that feels nice. Checking in with where you feel tight and tense. Our sun salutations are not about performing some kind of beautiful rhythmic movement, but about feeling into your body. And if you want your legs to be straight, we're working with the backline fascia. You might want to tuck your chin in slightly and then get that whole stretch down the back of the body. So we don't have to do one or the other. We can do both, or we can play with what feels good for you today. Good, let's lunge back with the right leg. Knee's going to come down to the floor to begin with. So drop the knee down and your hands can either stay grounded, or you might want to extend the arms up to the sky. We've got plenty of opportunity today to come through some lunges, so just let this be a bit of a warm-up for your body. Feeling into the experience of stretching. Hands can come down to the floor. We'll slide the left leg back to join the right and make your way down onto your belly, however is comfortable for your body. And it really doesn't matter how you come down. For our first round, we're just going to come through a Sphinx pose. So walk the hands out, elbows basically underneath the shoulders or a little bit further forward. And we'll pull up through the back of the skull, potentially just squeezing the buttocks a little bit just to activate into the lower back so we're not putting too much compression into the lumbar spine. Good, drop the hands back under the shoulders, push into a tabletop position. And again, for our first round, let's just take a child pose, extending the arms forward. Maybe the forehead comes down to the floor, which stretch out here. On your next inhalation, let's lunge forward with the right leg. Coming into that nice low lunge, maybe the arms come up to the sky. Choose what works for your body today. Hands will come down to the floor, tuck the toe, and step the feet to the top of your mat, standing forward fold. Good. We're going to inhale, lift the arms up to the sky, take a little back bend, and the hands come to the heart center. Again, take a moment to connect to the sensations you're feeling in your body. Maybe it's a tingling as you're starting to get warmer. Perhaps you're noticing your breath having to move quicker. What can you feel in your body? Round 2, same speed. We inhale, lift the arms up, take a little back bend. Exhale, maybe softening the knees as we fold forward. And we can again walk through into that forward fold, just allowing a little bit of movement into the body. Just feeling into where it's tight. Notice what it actually feels like. Rather than just lumping, this feels painful or that hurts. What does the hurt actually feel like? Is it a pulling, an aching, a burning, a twinging? Okay, let's step back with the left leg, dropping the left knee down to the floor, low lunge. Hands can stay down or we can lift them up to the sky. Now try to remember to switch on your buttocks a little bit here to support your lower back. Good, take the hands down to the earth and slide the right leg back to join the left, and we just make our way down to our belly, however you need to. We'll come through into that Sphinx pose, forearms down to the ground, pull up through the back of the skull and gently engage the buttocks. Hands will come back underneath the shoulders and we'll push into our child pose. Or as we're in the second round, you may want to come into downward facing dog. So lifting the hips up, maybe bending and straightening the legs, or maybe having the knees bent and just pushing the ground away so your shoulders are coming up towards your ears and you're really encouraging a little bit of length through your spine. Or what is it that you want to feel in this position? Where do you feel sensation? Where is the body rich with sensational awareness? Good, we're going to slowly drop the knees back down to the floor. The left leg is going to come forward into that lunge. Maybe looking forward, looking up, or the arms can come up to the sky. And then we'll bring both feet back to the top of the mat. So tuck the right toe, step the feet to the top of your mat, fold forward. And inhale, reach the arms up. Taking that little back bend, hands to the heart center. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker. And I'm going to add a little variation in for you. So if you would like to make slight adjustments, you can. Or if you want to stay exactly as we did it, keep it as it was for the last 2 rounds. So here we go. Inhale, lift the arms up, little back bend. Exhaling, folding forward. And we're going to take a high lunge now. So the right leg's going to step back. High lunge, arms can come up or they can stay down. This time you really have to feel that engagement of your legs. Hands come down to the floor. Now we can drop the knees down or step through into our plank pose. And I don't really mind how you make your way onto your belly. You can come knees down first. You can take chaturanga, whatever works for your body. Leaving the hands underneath the shoulders, or you can slide them to Sphinx, but we'll take our little cobra. So lifting up the chest. Let the hands be really light. In fact, maybe even float them off the floor. And have an imagined grapefruit underneath your chin. Yes, you can probably feel sensation starting to really kick in here in the upper back. Great. Keep squeezing the buttocks and push the feet into the floor. Hands come down, we push back to that tabletop pose and into downward facing dog or child pose, you choose. Take a nice breath here. Push the ground away. Right leg's going to lunge forward, but we're going to drop the back knee down to the low lunge. Lifting the arms up, inhale. Exhale, we fold forward, stepping our feet to the top of the mat. And then inhale, lift the arms up. Little back bend. hands to the heart center. And again, inhale, lift the arms up, little back bend. Exhale to fold forward. We'll step back with the left leg. High lunge, maybe keep the knee off the floor and reach the arms up to the sky. Hands will come down to the floor and we'll step through that plank position. We can always drop the knees and then make our way onto our belly however it works for your body. Inhale, either cobra or sphinx. Remember, cobra, hands are really light. Use the upper back and keep the chin tucked. Push through the ground, either child pose position or into your downward facing dog. Hopefully your body is starting to warm up and you're feeling sensations starting to really ignite in your entire body. Left leg lunges forward. This time we drop the right knee down, arms come up. And as we exhale, we join both feet to the top of the mat, standing forward fold. Good. Inhale, lift the arms up, take a little back bend. And exhale, hands to the heart center. We've got 2 more rounds, a little tiny bit quicker. Inhale, lift the arms up, little back bend. Exhaling to fold. We'll step the right leg back, high lunge, arms can come up. And as we exhale, hands come down, make our way through onto the belly, however it works for your body. Inhale to your cobra or sphinx. And exhale into child pose or downward facing dog. Right leg's going to lunge forward. You can drop the back knee down, lift the arms up. And exhale, standing forward fold. Good. Inhale, we'll sweep the arms up. Take that little back bend. Exhale, hands to the heart center. 1 more round. Inhale, lift the arms up. Little back bend. Exhaling to fold. Left leg lunges back. Keep the knee off the ground or lower it down. Sweep the arms high. Exhale, the hands come down to the ground. We step through to our plank or onto the floor, any way we work that works for our body. Take your back bend as you inhale and exhale into your downward facing dog or child pose. Left leg lunges forward, right knee drops down to the ground. We inhale, lift the arms up. And exhale, we stand to the top of the mat, standing forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Final little stretch here. Exhale, hands to the heart center. Take a moment to breathe. What can you feel in your body? Sensationally, what has awoken? Is there heat, tingling? And where is it? We'll make our way onto our backs here. We're going to do about 8 to 10 minutes of a body scan. So lying down, feels good to lie down. Taking a few moments to acclimatise by watching your breathing. And you can close your eyes or soften your gaze. And just notice the sensations of your breath once again. Maybe you can feel your heart pulsing in your chest. Is there a heat, a coolness, pressure? So we're going to take the next roughly 10 minutes to work through the body, noticing sensations in different parts of your body. You do not have to move the parts of your body that I mention, but simply notice the naturally arising sensations that are already in that part of your body. And the great thing after doing some movement is we tend to be more connected to the body as we've been moving and feeling muscles activating. So we're going to begin the practice now. Just make sure that you're comfortable enough that you can stay still. Drawing your attention to your right foot. Noticing anything that arises in your right foot, from the toes to the sole of the foot, to the top of the foot, to the heel. It might be pressure, heat or coolness, tingles or vibrations. And numbness is still a sensation. So if you feel nothing, if you feel a numbness in that part of your body, you can label it as a numbness. Let's shift the awareness to the right ankle. The right lower leg, including the calf and the shin. What can you feel in this part of your body? Your right knee. Anything that naturally arises in the right knee. Your right upper leg, so the thigh, front and back. And this is generally a bigger part of the body, one of the longest bones in the body. So there's a lot of sensation here. Maybe just focusing on the most dominant sensation that you can feel. Guide the attention to the right hip and the right buttock. On the next inhale, let's breathe in from the toes up towards the right buttock, igniting sensation in the whole right leg, and then exhaling from the right buttock down towards the toes of the right foot, holding the breath out at the end of the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, returning back to normal breathing. Bringing the attention to the left foot, including the toes, the sole of the foot, the top of the foot and the heel. What can you feel in the left foot? Shift the attention to the left ankle, the left lower leg, including calf muscle and shin, observing any pressure or twitches or tingles. The left knee, the left upper leg, front and back of the thigh, the left hip, and the left buttock. Take a breath in from the left toes all the way up to the left hip and buttock, feeling the sensation of the left leg. And as you exhale, breathing back down the leg from the glute to the toes, holding the breath out at the end of the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to normal breathing. Bring your awareness to your right hand. Fingers, palm, back of the hand. We've got lots of sensation in our hands, so really paying attention to as much as you can and as detailed as possible. Guide the attention to the left wrist, the left lower arm, the elbow, the upper arm, the left shoulder, and the left shoulder blade. Guide your attention to the right hand, fingers, palm, back of the hand, wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, and shoulder blade. Now breathing in from both hands all the way up the arms to the shoulder blades. And as we exhale, we breathe from the shoulder blades back down the arms, the tips of the fingers, holding the breath out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back to normal breathing. Bring the awareness to your tailbone, your coccyx. What can we feel in this part of your body? Shifting that attention to your sacrum Maybe feeling the pressure of this part into the ground, or any twinges or tingles. Moving to the lower back, the lumbar spine and the surrounding area. Moving to the middle back, the upper back, the back of the neck, and the back of the head. Inhale from the tailbone all the way up to the back of the head. And as you exhale, breathing down from the back of the head to the tailbone, holding the breath out at the end of the exhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Return back to normal breathing. Bring the attention now to the pelvic area. Working towards the lower abdomen. What can we feel in this area? And generally speaking, we have less sensational responses internally, but we definitely still can feel movement, twinges, vibrations, pulses. Move to the area of the belly button, the solar plexus, the lower ribs, the middle ribs, the upper ribs with the chest and the collarbone, the front of the neck, and to the chin. Sliding your awareness across the jaw to the ears. What can you feel in the ears? Coming back along the jaw to the chin and up to the lips. What about noticing sensation in the mouth, the teeth, the tongue? Coming to the nose, noticing the edges of the nostrils, the tip of the nose, the ridge of the nose. Out along the cheeks and to the temples. The eyes, eyeballs, eyelids. The eyebrows. And the center between the eyebrows, the third eye. Coming up the forehead to the hairline and over the top of the head, right to the point of your head. Then as we breathe in, we'll breathe in from the pelvis all the way up through the front of the body, over the face, the top of the head. And exhaling, breathing back down towards the pelvic area, holding the breath out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Returning back to normal breathing. Then finally see if you can ignite your entire body with sensational awareness. Anything that naturally arising in your body, we just have to notice. Tingles, vibrations, pressure, heat, coolness, numbness, anything at all. Then breathing in from the toes and the fingers all the way up to the top of the body. And breathing out all the way back down towards the toes. Holding the breath out at the end of the exhale for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Returning back to normal breathing. Arriving back to your breath, just following the rhythm of your breath. We've come to the end of our body scan. So just start to add movement in, fingers, toes, face muscles, maybe the head rolls from side to side, rubbing the eyes or the face or stretching out your body. We might hug the knees in towards the chest and just rock a little bit from side to side, massaging the lower back into the ground. And then let's maybe come all the way up slowly to seated. You can roll off to one side first. Take your time to come all the way up, nice and steady. We're going to come into our nice stretching part of the practice to really ignite some sensation in our bodies. So, firstly, we're going to want to have either blocks, potentially, so they can come to the top of the mat, and definitely you're going to want to have something like a cushion or a bolster for support. The fascia balls are going to come in towards the end or the rolled up towel, so if you do need this as a prop, just pop it to one side and we'll come back to that in a moment. So the first thing we're going to do is a little ankle stretch. I know we hate stretching our ankles. We hate stretching our toes as well. We'll leave that for another time. But we're going to do the ankles today, working to the front line of the body. So if you can, sit like this and try and bring your toes in line with your heels. It's not wrong to sickle the feet, it's not wrong at all, but we want to get the stretch across the front of the ankle. Now, if this is really uncomfortable for you and you find that this hurts your knees, you can always bring a bolster or a block in front of you and either just rest a knee on top to get an ankle stretch, or you can even place the kind of top of the foot into the floor to get a stretch this way. If this still doesn't feel very comfortable for your knees, you can actually do it standing. And I quite like just bringing the foot back behind and putting a bit of pressure into it. Or again, bring the foot forward, either resting it into a bolster or just leaving it forward. So work with your body, and your limitations are absolutely fine if you're working with knees. If your knees are fine and you're like, I can sit like this for hours, as I know some of us can, and it doesn't feel uncomfortable sitting here, we can add to it by bringing support underneath the knees, bolster or blocks, and increasing the stretch in the top of the ankles. It feels so good. Now, if this is too intense, remember you can always lean forward. So we're going to sit here for just a little bit of time, just enough to provoke sensational response. Now, what I want you to try and do is not react to it. I hate this, yeah? We're going to try and just sit with the feeling and see if we can describe it. We will reach a threshold when our body says it's too much. So observe that threshold. If you're going, okay, the heat is getting explosive, I need to come out of this, then take a lesser option for your body. Or if you find that your body starts to loosen and open, it doesn't mean you have to go deeper and make your body suffer even more. Most importantly, check that you're still breathing. If we're holding our breath or we're panting, we're generally in stress, right? So we want to keep this nice and steady. Now, if you've done one ankle, do the other. So if you're doing one, alternate and do the other one. We've still got about another 45 seconds. We can do it. If you need to come out at any point, know that you can. So it's absolutely fine to come out of this at any moment. And you might discover one side feels a lot more intense than the other. Normal. Particularly my left ankle does not like this so much as my right. Good, one more breath, let's breathe in. As we breathe out, we'll release. So whatever props we have, if we're standing up, we can come back to sitting or kneeling and come back to tabletop. Maybe just rotate the ankles out. Feels good. Release the tension. Maybe just tap the feet to the floor. Give the ankles a good shake. So let's roll this bolster or pillow close towards our knees. Now this is a moment, if we have yoga blocks, we might want to use them. We don't necessarily need them. So we're going to step forward to the top of your mat with your left leg. Now we're using the pressure of the bolster or pillow to rest to the right thigh. So there's a little less pressure under your knee. If, however, you need a little bit more support, just pop something underneath that right knee, so that you feel that there isn't as much pressure on the knee cap at all. And we're sinking in here. Now, if you don't have blocks, you can just use your thigh with your hands, your arms. If you find that actually you don't even want blocks, you want to come down a bit lower, your hands can come to the floor. I'm going to use my blocks here and breathe. Now, this is not a competition to see how flexible we are, but to notice the sensations that arise in the areas of our body that are getting a stretch. And you might discover the connection of the fascia. So we're working the frontline fascia here. So we're feeling maybe a pulling and a tugging from the front of the knee all the way up towards the thigh, the hip flexor, maybe even into the belly. Now we're going to make this a little bit more challenging if we would like to. So you can either leave your left hand onto a block or bring your left elbow to your thigh and reach your right arm up towards the sky. Imagine you're trying to reach or hang on to something above you, and you should feel this connection all the way from the knee, all the way up towards at least the armpit area and even up to the fingers. So we're not trying to reach the arm up and then compromising the lunge. We're staying in the lunge, and this is an extension of the stretch. Your arm doesn't have to be straight if you find it challenging, and we're easing into this nice and steady. What can we feel and where can we feel it? And what does it feel like? Can we be descriptive of the sensations we're experiencing? One more breath. Now, if your arm is raised, slowly lower it back down. Take your time to come out of this. Hands can come back to your blocks or the floor, and we push our way out gently, bringing that left leg back over our support, maybe just taking a few wags of the tail to release any tension that may have built up here. Good. The joy is we only have 2 legs, so we only have to do it on the other side, and then we're done. So we can step the right leg forward. Left thigh is gently resting onto the support, bolster or pillow. Hands can be on blocks or your thigh, whatever's most comfortable, or even the ground. And we're just seeing what's going on this side. So maybe this side feels different. We might notice there is more sensation here, less sensation here. Try not to think about flexibility as being your goal. Yes, you might be more flexible or less flexible the more or less you do this, but I want you to notice the sensation or response. What can we feel in our bodies? We're so obsessed with how everything looks that we stay very on the surface of how we're experiencing things. If we can start to look inward and actually explore the sensation of the stretches, the muscles, the fascia opening up, we start to read our bodies in a very different way, understand them on a very different level, and it's much more enriching. Now again, if we want to take this a little bit deeper, bringing the right elbow to the right thigh and perhaps lifting the left arm up to the sky. Now notice I haven't changed the lunge. So in order to get the arm up, if you're having to shift the weight back to get the arm up, maybe you're not ready to lift the arm up. I'd rather you stayed in the lunge, and the lift of the left arm is an extension of that. And seeing where it goes and noticing the feeling, that pulling feeling, it's really amazing how you go, oh yeah, my whole body is connected. We're not just these like separate muscles stuck together. They're all interwoven to create one whole. So we're reaching up as much as our bodies can, but keeping within that safe zone. So we're not getting into the point where we can't breathe or we feel like we're literally holding on for dear life. We want to stay in a safe realm so that the body actually begins to open and let go. Let's take another breath here. Now, as we drop the arm, drop it slowly. So the fascia is elasticated, it's elastic. So it needs to come out nice and gently. Then we can push the weight back slowly because the hip flex has been in extension for a while. And then bring the right leg back over to join the left. And you might just want to wiggle the hips. Maybe move your blocks if you have them off to one side. And we can roll our support forward and then drop onto the forearms so that the chest rests onto the support. Legs extend away. So we're in a sphinx position. Try to keep the head lifted if you can here, just to get the extra stretch through the front of the body. And if you want even more, gently bend the knees. Now, the legs do not have to come heels towards buttocks if that's too much like hard work for your hamstrings. Just bend them so you get a bit of a stretch. If you want to, you can even clink the toes together or keep them hip distance or knee distance. And we're just feeling into the body. Now, you might feel a little bit of pinching in your lower back. This is absolutely fine. Compression is what happens in our spine, but if it feels too intense, just back away. Back away from that intensity. If you want to go a little bit further, if you know you're very flexible in your lower back, then you can push into the arms and straighten the arms. This might mean your chest comes slightly away from your bolster or support, that's fine. Or you might just want to rest your elbows onto your support. So you're still getting that nice stretch, but you're opening up through the front line of the body. Now keep the chin a little bit more parallel and pull up through the back of the skull as opposed to lifting the chin up. We're trying to get the frontline fascia so it goes up the SCM, the sternocleidomastoid, rather than when we lift the chin, we actually end up not getting that lovely stretch and we shorten the SCM. So we're trying to lengthen it out. Good. Keep breathing. We'll take one more breath if we're in the extended variation with the arms out or the elbows on the bolster. Now, if you need to come back down, come down a little bit. If you're still in Sphinx pose, to stay here, we're going to pull the elbows in slightly towards the chest. Now, if you want to do this without the bolster, you can, or you can keep the bolster there, just almost like squeeze it in towards you, getting an extra little stretch through the front line of the body. Take one more breath, inhale, and exhale, relax the legs. We'll bring the hands back underneath the shoulders and push back into tabletop pose. Maybe moving the spine, so you might want to take a cat-cow. You might just want to move around a little bit. Good. So just shifting the bolster off to one side for a moment. And we're taking our puppy variation to open up the lateral lines of the fascia, so down the sides of the body and into the back really. So we'll bring the right forearm, as if we're coming into puppy pose, a little bit further forward, so the shoulder is a little bit behind the elbow. Your left hand comes underneath your left shoulder. I want you to pretend that your right hand and right forearm are glued into the floor, and then you're trying to pull it back. If your head feels awkward, you can always drop your head to the floor, but I personally prefer the head lifted. And then just feel like you're trying to drag that arm back, but it's stuck into the floor. And hopefully you'll feel a lovely stretch all the way from the tricep, up in the armpit region, into the side of the body, all the way down into the rib cage and potentially into the kind of middle or lower back region. So there's lovely lateral lines, latissimus dorsi muscle, and everything that's kind of interwoven along that line. Feels, well, I think it feels amazing. But I say that about all stretches, really. I'm trying to think, is there one that I really don't like? Happy baby. Yeah, that's the one. Well, I'm starting to like that more now. Good. Now, as we come back up, very gently push through the left hand, slide the right hand back in to join the left, and just maybe roll the shoulders a bit and just notice the sensational release. So what does it feel like now as we've come out of that position on that right side of your body, comparatively to the left? So we'll bring that left arm forward, drop the left elbow into the floor. So your elbow is in front, it's in front of the shoulder. Right hand comes underneath the shoulder and we push back. So imagine that arm is glued into the floor, and as we pull the weight back, we'll feel the stretch, maybe even from the left elbow, all the way up towards the shoulder, the armpit, and down the side of the left torso, into the rib cage. I mean, you'll feel it where you have tension in your body. And we don't have to push so much that it is just like too much effort. Find that balance between what's effortful and what's easy. It's particularly hard when you are very flexible to find that balance. So just go easy on yourself. It doesn't have to feel extreme in sensation to be doing something important or releasing. And if you're very open in an area, perhaps it's not actually that important that you stretch it. It's already open. Keep breathing here. What can we feel? Where can we feel it? Can we describe what that sensation is like? Now gently push down through the right hand, and slide the left hand back in. And again, maybe move around a little bit, noticing how the body feels. Good. Then make your way onto your sit bones. Now, if you are going to want to have something to elevate the hips, you can hop yourself up onto that bolster or support if you need it. By all means, grab as many pillows as possible for this practice if that's required. So you're going to extend out the left leg and draw the right knee in. Now, if you do need cushioning or anything underneath that knee, just make sure it feels supported and comfortable. So it's why it's really nice to have any extra support that your body needs. It might be that this inner thigh is like, whoa, hello, and the medial hamstring. So if you need to shift that leg forward slightly, or if you want to go wider, just try and check that the sit bones are grounded. Or you can also pop a block or something under the knee just to reduce the intensity. Can't speak. Now we'll reach down that left leg with the left arm. And we're taking a side stretch, but also a bit of a twist. So as we're twisting open, maybe this right arm comes up and over, and you might want to play with the movements, so coming in and out, finding where it feels good. You may want to bend the elbow or straighten it. Maybe let the head drop. Find the place where we can kind of hold here and breathe comfortably. It doesn't have to be super deep. What are we feeling and where are we feeling it? And maybe you want to go for the most dominant space that you're experiencing sensation. And just try almost like dissect it. Like, well, what's that? Where does it feel? What sort of form is it taking? Is it moving, shifting? Is it solid? Oh, I thought it was solid, but now it's actually starting to melt. That sort of thing. So we're really beginning the process of observation of the details that are within the stretching. We're nearly there. I know this one tends to be quite hard and horrible. Now, as we come back up, if the arm is lifted, draw the arm down slowly first and follow the torso up to seated. Good. And we'll bring the soles of the feet together now. If you have that bolster underneath one knee or pillow, you can slide it underneath both if that feels nice to support here. Or just leave it out, let the knees open, and then fold your body into butterfly or Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose. So many names for postures in yoga, and often named after animals. Just allow the body to soften here a little bit. We're just here as a interim pose, feeding into the hips, the lower back. And then gently curling back up, nice and steady. Now we'll guide in that left leg and extend out the right one. Now again, just make sure that you feel that your sit bones are grounded, that you get a comfortable sense in your body before we've even moved. And when I say comfortable, relative comfort. Maybe the block under the knee, maybe you're sat up onto a pillow or bolster. And we'll reach the arm down, the extended leg, get the twisting in first. We're twisting up towards that left side, and perhaps that left arm floats up and over the head. Maybe we move it around a little bit first just to get kind of used to where our body wants to be. Maybe the head drops, maybe the elbow bends, I don't know. What feels the most interesting on this side? And we pause here. We pause here and feel into the body. Lucky you. Experiencing sensation in, generally speaking, quite tight spaces in our body. So our backs, our side bodies. So breathe into that. Notice and feel your body. It's so amazing that we have so much sensation to be experienced in our bodies. And yet we spend most of the time basically hunting for comfort, when actually we try and avoid pain and only look for comfortable things. But sometimes the most interesting or the most knowledge is within the areas of our body that are actually uncomfortable. And it's not that it's bad to be comfortable and we should sit and suffer in things, but it's about what can we learn from where we feel discomfort. And is it really actually uncomfortable, or is it just tight, pulling, aching? Now we're slowly releasing out of this pose. So bring that left arm down gently first and let the torso follow. Oh yeah. Bring the soles of the feet together. And you might want to fold forward. Doesn't have to be far. Setting the hips open. Maybe a little bit of a yes, yes, no, no with the head. Good, then coming up nice and slowly. Going to do my favourite one of the whole lot. But then, you know me, I'll probably say that about all of them. So I'm going to show you from different angles this one. This is a really nice twisted variation. Some of you have probably done this many times before. So we're going to take that left leg and bring it behind as if we're in a mermaid sort of position. Sitting as a mermaid, yeah? I'm just going to show it from this angle so you can see. So the left leg has gone behind. So we have a slight staggering of the legs. Now you probably feel like you have to bring your right hand to the floor, and that's absolutely fine. Let's give you a slightly better angle this way. So we're going to then bring the hands and walk them all the way round towards the right side and even look over the right shoulder. Let me turn so you can see it this side as well. So we're looking all the way around. Lovely. Now if you want to go a little bit deeper, you might want to drop onto the forearms and keep twisting and looking over the right shoulder. If you're still not satisfied and you'd like to go deeper, lift up that right elbow and slide the left arm underneath and reach it as far as you can towards the right side. You can then drop down your right elbow or even drop onto that left ear. Now this is a very deep twist for the spiral lines, so just be very conscious of how far you go into this position. Keep breathing. Remember, less is sometimes more. It's not always best to go to your max. Sometimes it's better to stay in an area of your body that you actually feel comfortable to breathe into. The discomfort's going to come through, we'll feel it. And this is quite a full body twist, so you may notice areas of your body that are really starting to speak. There might be multiple areas, so maybe pick one for now, or kind of not jump, but glide from one to the other. Notice what they're saying. Good, we want to come out of this again really slowly. So if we've come all the way through, gently lift the body up, bringing maybe the forearms down, the hands up into the floor, and twist back round to the centre. And we can bring the soles of the feet back together. A little moment to pause here. Now we're going to go the other way. So we're going to take the right leg behind. Right leg goes back. We're into this position here. Left hand to the floor. And we walk round to the left. I'm going to show you from the other side so you can get a good visual. And we walk that, we're gazing over that left shoulder as we walk the hands round. And just go as far as your body says, yep, that's a stretch, Kate. I feel it. You don't have to go any further than that. Now, if you would like to, you can bring your forearms down to the floor and even keep gazing over that shoulder. If you want a little bit more, lift up the left elbow, slide the right arm underneath and reach. You may be able to get your right ear down to the floor, but it's not essential, and you might just want to drop that left elbow back into the floor. And just keep that feeling of connection from one part of your body all the way up and around to the other. It's like a feeling of everything being interwoven into one. You can feel the connections throughout your physical body. Okay, we'll take another breath here. And we want to come out of this nice and steady. So we slide that right arm out. If it's under, gently press back onto the hands. Walk back round. I'm just going to bring the legs forward and we're going to make our way onto the back, lying down. And just take a moment in this neutral position, constructive rest pose, to realign the spine and observe what it feels like to be here. So we can place the right ankle to the left thigh and maybe gently rock from side to side, massaging into the glutes. You can drop all the way down to one side and then all the way back and down to the other. And just exploring this nice and slowly. Good. Maybe pausing on one side if that feels good. Noticing where the sensation can be felt and what it feels like. What does it feel like in your body? I like the feeling of the glutes being massaged here. You can always use fascia balls or the towel underneath this area if you want to. If you're like, what? Don't worry about it. And then bring the body back to the center, release the right foot back into the floor and take the left ankle to the right thigh. Keeping a bit of flexion into that left ankle just to support the knee. And again, we're just dropping from side to side, nice and steady. Feeling into the parts of your body that are experiencing sensation. What is starting to ignite as we move? What can we feel and where can we feel that? What does it feel like? Does it change, or is there lots of different sorts of feelings through the body as we move? Okay, gently coming back to the center, releasing the left foot and pausing here. Moment we're going to want to have either a rolled up hand towel or bolster. They're going to do the same thing. So fascia balls. The bolster would be a bit intense. So come around onto your belly. Now, if you have a rolled up towel, it's just going to be placed in the same place that I'm going to place the fascia balls. Roughly around about the lower sort of abdomen region. So I want you to think, if I come a little bit closer, you can see. So your pelvic bowl region here, the fascia balls tuck into this space. This is so that we can actually feel it into the kind of psoas region of the lower belly, so the kind of tight muscles of the hip flex to come up into the lumbar spine. So if it's a towel, just keep that towel. You might need to curve the towel round slightly so that it fits into that sort of area, or just lay it across and your body will pressure into the towel anyway. And we'll bring our forearms to the ground first. Just make sure it's in the right sort of position. And then try as best you can to relax. It might feel a bit weird. I mean, we often don't give our tummies much attention in terms of massage or particularly gentle touch as well. So pressure, gentle touch. I mean, when do you massage your tummy? Probably when you've got tummy ache, which is probably not an appropriate time to bring fascia balls into your tummy. So feeling into the sensations that might begin to arise as we hold this here for about another minute. If you find that you're not getting much or you want more, you can drop down onto the chest and keep the breath moving. So try not to hold the breath here. Notice if you can relax the buttocks as well, so let the glutes soften. It's very easy to squeeze and clench the buttocks here because it can be quite intense. So if it gets to the point where it's just too much sensation, our brains might not be able to compute. They're like, too much, too much, too much. So apply a little bit at a time. Then move back and then maybe come for a little bit more. We're in a society where we love intensity. We love it. We claim we don't, but we do. We love it. And often people are like, oh, it's boring if it's not intense. Or I'm not doing anything because it's not intense enough. Whereas actually what's really good is that we reduce the intensity so we can manage and we can absorb what we're feeling and process what we're doing in a much more kind of bite-sized way. Good, final breath here. If you're like starting to really enjoy this one, this is a great one to do pretty much as you'd like. Maybe not once you've just eaten, or if you're experiencing tummy ache, but I love this. This is one I like to do quite often, most nights. Now to come out of this pose, you might want to come back onto the elbows if you're lying on the belly, and I just like to roll off to one side so you don't have to put too much pressure into the belly, and release your support, whether it's a towel or fascia ball, and come onto your back. If you would like to have the bolster under your knees or get a blanket to wrap you up warm, you can do so. And come to lie in a nice neutral position, Shavasana, the most important part of our practice, where we get to realign everything, to rest our bodies. Everything that we've done over the last hour, it can be mentally, physically, emotionally absorbed effortlessly. And I will let you know when it's time to come out of the shape. Now very gently become aware of the body lying here. Maybe deepening the breath. Maybe wiggling fingers, toes, letting the head perhaps roll from side to side. You may want to stretch the arms over the head, perhaps yawning. Maybe sighing as you release. You might hug the knees in towards the center, a little rock from side to side. Maybe allowing your body to fall all the way over to one side and pausing here for a moment. And as you gently push your body up to seated, take your time to come up nice and slowly. Lengthening through the spine. We'll close off our practice with one final stretch. It's Inhale, stretch the arms up to the sky. Bring the palms to connect. And exhale the hands to the heart center. Gently bow the head forward and thank yourself for your practice today. Feeling into sensations within your body. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. So well done.